excited about our next presentation because it's coming from my colleague Vlad Alexienko, VP of Growth at Reply. Vlad will be sharing insights on how to write better sequences backed by data from over 50 million emails. Over to you, Vlad.
Thank you, Leah. Thanks. All this time I was behind the scenes, listening to the presentation. Great insights, particularly I love Kyle's note on like execution. Recently, actually today I read an interesting post on X saying like when it comes to like everything, it's Pareto principle, 80-20. So 20% spent on planning and then 80% on execution. So basically, like when it comes to those calculators, it's super important to like then execute on it, right? Like love this post actually. Okay, so let's start sharing the screen, and today we'll be talking about an interesting topic for me. It's how to write better sequences backed by analyzing 50+ million emails, cold emails sent through Reply platform in the past like 6 or so months. So again, my name is Vlad, and I'm growth person here at Reply with SDR's background. Spent almost 9 years doing outbound sales, cold outreach. Not an expert, just following some best practices, trying to implement them, see if it works for me. If so, then I just like start sharing those insights and those like practical things. So here's what we will cover today. I will share just some data-backed insights of cold outreach, sequencing in Reply, plus some best practices, plus example of these best practices, plus as always, useful bonus content. Actually, 4 pieces of useful bonus content. That's always you have to like have something really useful and like practical when it comes to presentations, workshop like this. And I love that our speakers also follow this approach. So let's get started. So we analyzed lots of cold emails, a bunch of data points, and I just decided to put some of them into this presentation, just the most interesting ones and the most exciting ones, in my opinion. And those are just typically some high-level things that you can fix, and they can help you improve your cold outreach in a nutshell. So number one, it's email length. So when we analyze cold emails, typically when it comes to Reply, typically it's B2B sales cold emails. Maybe 80% of our use cases are B2B sales emails, sometimes inbound, sometimes other use cases like recruiting, we see business development, marketing, etc. But typically it's outbound sales. So when it comes to outbound sales, cold emails, what we'll notice here is that the shorter your email in terms of words count is like the better actually. So the shorter your email is, the more replies you get. On average, we can say that emails with less than 75 words on an average typically generate almost 2x more replies in comparison to longer emails with more than 100 words. And then you can see a reverse trend. Why? Because typically those longer emails, as I said, could be like a marketing use case or VC use case or maybe business development use case or partnership. So with those longer emails and non-sales use cases, you want to share all information upfront, like your company updates, maybe your numbers, your pitch deck, and so on. So maybe with other use cases, longer emails are better. But when it comes to B2B sales and cold outreach, the shorter the email is, the better. So my recommendation here is to maybe stick to something between 50 to 100 words max, and then just iterate here. And it does make perfect sense. Why? Because when there is data set that says, hey, average time people spend reading brand email marketing emails is approximately like 11, maybe to 15 seconds. So in these 15 seconds, you have to like specify why you're reaching out to them, what's your value proposition, what's in it for them, your call to action, and then encourage them to reply. So you have just 15 seconds to encourage them. And when it comes to like average reading speed, you can read on medium level speed, you can read something between 50 maybe to 100 words. So again, it does correlate with this data. And there is an interesting tool for everyone called the readtime.com. So what you can do here, you can just copy and paste your cold email and then adjust reading speed and then silent reading speed, because typically they read emails in silent mode rather than allowed speed reading, right? So, and then you can check, hey, how long does it take to read emails and words count? And then you can say, hey, okay, it will take 20 seconds to read it, those 80 words. So again, another way to adjust and maybe improve your email copies for your sequences. The same with average sentence lengths. So when it comes to average sentence lengths, we also analyze those data points. And what we will notice an interesting insight here. So again, the shorter the sentence is, the better. So it does make sense to send like simple emails with simple sentences, avoiding like complex phrases and so on, robust ideas and so on. You just keep your emails short in terms of length, and the same with average sentences. So we will notice here that on average, emails where average sentence length is something between maybe 6 to 12 words on average, generate more replies. And then you can see on average those emails get approximately almost 3% reply rate in comparison to longer ones, which is like less than 2%. So a huge difference. Typically, I would say it's like almost 20 to 30% difference. So that's how you can improve your copywriting and email copies as well. So idea number 2 here is just adjust your average sentence length. Avoid longer sentences, avoid complex phrases, and so on. The next interesting insight here, I have been sharing this before, but what I've noticed is that sometimes people send like really long emails and then lots of paragraphs, or I call them grades, pretty much the same. So paragraph is like a white space between those sentences. So we have 4 grades: greeting, reason for outreach, my value proposition, and call to action. So, and when it comes to grades, we also analyzed those emails by paragraphs or grades. And what we noticed, again, the fewer grades you have, paragraphs you have, the better the result is actually. So what we've noticed, the best ones, the top performing emails, they contain just maybe 3 grades, then something between 4, 5, 6, 7, and then your average reply rate starts declining. And again, in terms of open rates, we can say, hey, probably those emails are super long ones. In that case, you have more options. That's why you can just like increase your like spam rate, because you have more sentences. Maybe there are some spam words and so on. So that's why longer emails perform, actually cold emails, sales cold emails perform a little bit worse. All right, so then it comes to grades. And I actually read a few examples of those really awesome recent posts from other creators like Aaron Reeves and Will Allred recently about grades and short sentences. And you can see here they pretty much follow those best practices in terms of grades and short sentences. Short sentences, bunch of space between those paragraphs, white spaces between those paragraphs, easy to read, easy like to scan those posts, these emails, right? So probably that's why these email frameworks, cold email frameworks work, and that's why these creators and experts share those templates, because they work, right? And again, it does make sense because it correlates with our insights as well. Strategy number 4 here is questions. What I also noticed is that sometimes salespeople send me cold emails with asking me a few things. hey, click a link, where's a chat, maybe you want to like jump on a call, or so basically they have sometimes 2-3 calls to action. And when it comes to best practices, what we noticed that it's better to ask either zero questions or maybe just one soft interest-based questions. Then again, the more question you ask, the fewer replies you get. And then when it comes to reply rates, you can see that for all emails we analyzed, an average reply rate for all emails with just one question is almost 2.2%, when emails that contain just, for example, 4 questions, it's like 0.7%. So it's almost 3x less effective in comparison to 1 or 0 question. So my suggestion here is to focus on soft interest-based CTA, something like where's the chat, where's conversation, is it something that you're interested in, does it resonate with you, does it resonate with what your team is like going to implement this quarter, this year, and so on. So maybe 1 question or 0 question is a better choice when it comes to sales outbound outreach. Then a bunch of other ideas here. Emails per inbox. We also analyze those metrics because of new deliverability updates with Google and Yahoo. And what we can say here that the best performing inboxes, they just send something between 20 to 100 emails per inbox per day. Then the more emails you send through your inbox, the fewer both opens and replies you get. So sticks to something between 50 to 100 emails per inbox per day. Then the same with your sequence. What we've also noticed here that all playbooks out there, they say, hey, just send more emails, like maybe have 15 to 20 touches in your campaign, like email campaign, to get those replies through your follow-ups. But what our data says that every additional step of your sequence will generate less replies, actually. So my recommendation here, focus on shorter, maybe 3 to 5 step email sequences, and then incorporate other channels. Because again, you will get majority of your replies on steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then probably you will just trigger your prospects to click, hey, report spam, block you as a spammer, and so on. And that's how you can hurt your deliverability nowadays. And then let's talk about like LinkedIn. We had a quite interesting conversation with one of our partners, Sally. It's a LinkedIn tool. And what they noted that when it comes to LinkedIn outreach and LinkedIn connection requests, they noted that they analyze LinkedIn acceptance rate. It's like a percentage of accepted connections you send. And what they note is that with Note, with like non-personalized Note, your average acceptance rate is almost 15%. Without Note, meaning blank connection request, you will get 21% acceptance rates. And with personalized notes, based on their persona, maybe their recent posts, updates, about profile sections on, you can get up to 35% acceptance rate. So my suggestion here is to focus on sending personalized connection request, and don't pitch your product in connection request itself, and use just LinkedIn messages for pitching your product. And here are a few ideas for connection requests, personalized connection requests. And then another tool, Ample Markets, a self-engagement platform, they analyzed LinkedIn messages and types of those all LinkedIn messages. And what they note is that voice and video messages are almost 2.5x more likely to get interested responses than text or just connection request itself. So we had this conversation on our panel discussion, and again, it correlates with what Catherine said. Use LinkedIn voice notes as a channel for your cold reach. to boost your reply rates on LinkedIn. So a few ideas how it works: just voice note, then maybe personalized image, some humor here, and so on. And again, when it comes to bonus content, 4 pieces of useful bonus content. Number one, we had a list of 10 multi-channel sequences, including templates, ready-to-use templates, in one link. Then I have some cool email templates to get more replies. They're quite boring ones, but so Michael, in our next presentation, maybe we'll share like really some great examples of email templates with you. But here's what we have here at Reply, and it works for us. All channel best practices like emails, LinkedIn's, how to create your sequences, how to like strategically balance between emails, LinkedIn touches, maybe some other channels like cold calling, and so on. Also, we had a really cool multi-channel course that will help you like combine everything together, like connect all those dots together. And as always, let's stay in touch. Let's connect here on LinkedIn. Feel free to scan QR code or maybe click the link, and I will share the presentation with you, the slides with you in the chat. So let's stay in touch. And as always, thank you for your time, and hope you will enjoy the rest of our event. So thanks for your time again.